A good quality and quantity of agricultural production is closely related with big number of elements of agro-technology. Each of elements has its importance. Only harmonization of all elements are the basis of success. We could say that 5 elements are the most important. The 5 most important elements of agriculture production are soil quality, cultivar or seeds quality, water for irrigation, plant nutrition, and plant protection. Green color is the color of the leaves. Without green fabric of the leaves has not life. Green leaves are the fabric of all the fabrics. Green leaves produce the food not only for people, but for all living organisms. Four are the big sources for food in the globe: agriculture, animal production, forest production, sea and ocean production. All kinds of such production are closely related with green leaves. Green leaves are the fabric of all fabrics, as I mentioned above. Green industry of the leaves is above all industries. Without organic matter has no life. Production capacity depends from capacity of the green biomass. That means we are interested to protect the capacity production of the leaves, capacity production of the plants. This is a photosynthesis process. The plants absorb from the soil water and minerals. From the atmosphere accumulate the solar energy and carbon dioxide and release the oxygen of the atmosphere too. During this process is produced the glucose, that means is produced the organic matter. The main goal of plant protection is to save the leaves of the plants from any kind of damages. Capacity of production depends from health of the leaves. People are part of global ecosystem. There is a very strong concurrence for food sources between the people and another living organism in the globe. One of the most concurrent group for people are insect pests, diseases, and the weeds. Potential damage of plant parasites without control measure is estimated to more than 50% of global agricultural products. In this sense, the service of plant protection play a very important role in avoiding the losses of production from plant parasites. There are so many studies to estimate the losses of production in agriculture in global level. According to the FAO data, the losses from parasites are calculated from 20 to 40% of world production. The data are according to the report April 2019. The authors Serge, Sarah, Jane, Paul, Niall, and Andy Nelson give some figures of losses in some crops. In the wheat, the losses go 21.5 to 28.1%, 30% to 40.9%. In the maize, 22.5 to 41.1%. In the potatoes, 17% to 21%, and soybean 21.4 to 32.4%. In Balkan countries, there is not any national or regional study about the losses of agricultural production from plant parasite, but we are conscious that the losses are very high, and everybody knows this is a big reserve for food and people of the region. Now, we will remember the main groups of the insect pests and diseases, biological cycle, and some illustrative picture from symptoms of in different agricultural plants. What are the factors of losses of agricultural production? We can divide in two main groups, abiotic factors and biotic factors. In biotic factors are irradiation. We include the water, temperature, and nutrients. Biotic factors we can divide in weeds, the animals, and pathogens. In the weeds, we mention monocotyledon weeds, dicotyledon weeds, the parasite weeds of the plants. In animals, we can mention insects, mites, nematodes, snails, rodents, birds, and mammals. From pathogens, we can mention fungus disease, bacteria disease, and virus disease. The main parasites of agricultural plants are insect pests, fungus, bacteria, viruses, and weeds. Now we will describe some characteristics for different groups of the insect. For example, coleopteros, beetles. We see here in the picture the adult, eggs, larvae, and the nymph. Here we see some examples from coleoptera insects. Chemicalia the beetles, Anthonomus grandis in cotton, Anthonomus pomorum in the apple, Anomalevitis in the grape, and Alemia melanopis in the wheat. This group are from coleoptera group. Some key pests from butterflies order. We see the first is the colding moth, Cydiopammonella. The second is Lobesia botrana in the grape, Graphagulita molespa in the plum. We see a polyphag butterfly is Hyphantricunea. We see here Limantria dispar is polyphag insect, especially in the forest. And we have Apore crategi butterfly is an insect pest in the fruit trees and in the forest too. We see here some examples from butterfly group. Now a cycle from Ord diptera or flies. Adult flies lay the eggs. From the eggs hatch the first age of the larva, the second age of the larva, the third age of the larva, and come after this stage come the pupa. Some example from flies. The first is olive fly, the key pest in olive. The second is Mediterranea fruit fly, Ceratitis capitata, is key insect pest in citrus. And another fly we see is a fly in the cereals. There are 3 examples from the flies. This is a developing cycle of aphids. From the eggs, in the spring we have the first larva, then we have migratory family insects, then the summer population, autumn population, and again we have the winter eggs. This is an example of developing the cycle for one. Here we have different species of the aphids in different crops. Many crops has many species of the aphids. Aphids are important for another reason too. Majority of the species of the aphids are the vector for some virus diseases and bacterial diseases. In this sense, they are very important for both for direct damage and indirect damage to the plants. Here we see the cycle of a scale. This is a California scale in the fruit trees. Especially very dangerous in the apple and in the peach, and has a very complicated biological cycle. It's important to know the more delicate stages in order to make the treatments in the right time. Some picture from scales in some crops. We see in the beginning the black scale in olive trees, Sycetiolea. See the scales on the citrus, in the peach, in the plum. Almost all the crops, especially the fruit trees, has many species of the scale. But we can mention the scales and aphids or spider mite are the secondary pest. If we misuse the plant protection products, we will have the problem from the scales. Here we see a developing cycle of a bug, a Hemioptera group. We have the eggs, the new larva, the second larva, the third larva, then comes the nymph. After the nymph comes the adult of the bug. There is a big number of the bugs in different crops. We have bugs in the fruit trees, this is in the pear, in alfalfa, in the cotton, in the cereals, in vegetable. So much species bugs we have in different crops. So more or less, this is the. Another group of the insects are the thrips. The thrips has more or less this cycle. Eggs, the early larva, the second larva, before the pube, and the adults. The thrips are more present, especially in vegetable, and some of them are very dangerous because are the vector for some virus diseases. See here some picture from the thrips. This is the view from the thrips in different crops. Are spider mite. We see here example from European spider mite in fruit trees. This is a Pananicus ulmi. We can find especially in the apple. And this spider mite gives many generations within the years, and span the winter. Over wintering stage are the eggs on the branches. Eggs in the spring we have the first larva, and many stages until the summer generation, and we have the fall generation And later, the family lay the eggs on the branch and winter eggs, and so continue the cycle within the season. During the season has 5 till 10 generation according to the climatic zone. Here we have two main examples from Spidermite. This is Pananicus ulmin in fruit trees. This is Tatanicus urtica in vegetable. Are in right in our crop. We have here the Spidermite, but with another picture, another view. This is Eriophis vitis. This is another family of Spidermite. These spidermites are very small. Sometimes it's difficult to see with a free eye. We need to have or loop, or we can see only under binocular. The picture from Eriophis vitis in cave. We can see the symptoms in the underside of the leaves, side of the leaves. This is a developing cycle from around worms, so-called nematodes. Nematodes are another big group, making a very big damage in some crops, especially in vegetable, in the glass houses and the field. This is a big group and a very danger. We see here the symptoms. Vitivinculus dipsaci and very dangerous nematodes, garlic and onion is very dangerous. If we don't respect here the plant rotation, it's impossible to harvest normal production from year to year. Here we see the downy mildew, Plasmopara viticola in the grape. These spend the winter as oospores. Then from oospores in the spring, we have now the zoospores. Zoospores are frigillata. Frigillata help zoospore to swim towards of the plants, and the zoospore penetrate in the leaves, and after germination, micelle if development. And after the incubation period, we have the first conidian, and the conidian now make the many infection many times within the generation. This is a cycle from Erwinia millivora, one of the most dangerous diseases in the apple and in the pear. Here the summer cycle, the winter cycle, and the spring cycle. The flowering time is a danger time from infection. The insect, especially bee, is the main insect that transmits the diseases from environment to the new fruits, new flowers. Erwinia millivora is a very dangerous disease and need very preventive measures. See here cycles of various diseases. This is the symptoms of Mediterranean fruit fly Ceratidis capitata. We see here the white larva within the fruits of the citrus. We see here a fruit of the apple damaging from codling moth, Chudia pommonella. Chudia pommonella is the key pest in the apple all over the world. Here we see a colony of the scale, a very dangerous scale, with the name California scale or Aspidiotis perniciosis, but we find with another name, Quadraspidiotis perniciosis, but it's the same. We see here the larva under the shell of the scale. Here are the main insect pests in the corn, are Sesame cretica and Pyrosta nobilalis. This symptom is from Meledogynia marioni and incognita, are the two species of nematodes very dangerous, especially in vegetable on the glass houses or in vegetable in the field. We see here the roots are denaturate, are deformed, and in such situation the plants have very difficulty to absorb the water and minerals from the soil. This is a key pest in cotton with the name Pectinophora gossypiela. All over the world is the key pest in the cotton crops. This picture belongs to Grapholita funebrana. It's the key pest in the plum, almost all over the world, in all regions of the world, the Grapholita funebrana is present. The rats are very dangerous too for different crops, not only in the fields, but in the storage. Past harvesting are very dangerous. The snails we can find everywhere, especially in vegetable fields, and especially in a region that are with rich in raining. This group of them make a big damage and need preventive measures in order to reduce the damage in the production. The rabbits are also a very dangerous group in agriculture, especially in fruticulture, in a nursery. They make a damage, destroyed the fruit trees. For rabbits, it's a little bit difficult to control because we see the rabbits as the part of agroecosystem, and we need to make many care in order to avoid the hunting without criterion. But some control measures is needed in order to reduce the damage on the rabbits. Firebrand diseases, a very dangerous diseases in apple in the pears. We see here on the fruits the exudate of bacteria, and for some cultivars is really very dangerous disease. And fire blight is fire. The name is fire. It's Arminia villovora. Is well known for every. Powdery mildew, Uncinula necator, is a key disease in the grape. Key diseases in the grape is downy mildew, Plasmopara viticola, or we can say is disease number one for all vineyards in the world, especially in the zones with high humidity. This disease is very, very dangerous. We see here the symptoms and see the symptoms on the leaves. On the upper side of the leaves, we see so-called oil spots. Under the leaves, we develop the conidian of the diseases. The conidian from conidian, we will have a new infection during the season. within the season this disease gives many generations. Apple scab, Venturion equalis, is number one disease in the apple and in the pear. All over the world is considered the key diseases. Smooth of the corn, Ustilagosea, is a disease we see often in the maize, but not for many cultivars. Some cultivars are sensitive, some are resistant. Nevertheless, it's a dangerous disease if we don't take into account the control measures. Smooth of the wheat, Ustilago tritici, is very dangerous if we don't make the disinfection of the seeds and if we don't make the plant rotation. But majority of cultivars now are resistant. Nevertheless, we need to know in detail because sometimes this disease on some region can make a big damage. A rust on the wheat, Puccinia graminis, is well-known disease in all over the world. In some regions what are rich in the raining, this disease is danger. Some cultivars are resistant or tolerant, but some cultivars are very sensitive. Weeds are a big group of damage. They make soil damage in different crops. If we don't take the care against weeds, we can destroy the production very fast. Sometimes the big density of the weeds, we are not be able to harvest the production. We see here only a heavy infection in wheat parcel, but as you know, the weeds we find them everywhere and are very difficult to control, especially in organic agriculture. As we know, the herbicides are forbidden. We see here the Fusarium species in the vegetable. The Fusarium is a big group of diseases in vegetable, especially in glass houses, but in the field too. If in the region with high humidity during the spring and the summer, this disease is very dangerous, especially if we don't respect the plant rotation. The Fusarium group is more dangerous. Very heavy infection from blight, infestans. It was blight, infestans in potatoes. We see here a field with very heavy infection. This disease is in favorable condition and without control measure can destroy the production fast.